All right, Mr. Marr, it's time now for This Week in Auto History, and I know that you've got some stuff lined up for us.
We've got about 7 things that we really found were interesting this week, although, like you say, the industry kind of shuts down this time of year. So this week, Henry Leland founded the Lincoln Motor Company in Detroit. Now, what I found really interesting about this was that it was initially started to build aircraft engines for World War I. And it wasn't until after the war that Lincoln shifted to luxury automobiles, and they got a really big reputation because of their engineering with the motors. They became really good engineers with the whole car. Now, they were bought by Ford in 1922, and it continues to be Lincoln's premium division of cars. Then, this week in 1935, the first parking meter was installed. Now, this was done in Oklahoma City, of all places, and it was done to manage traffic, to get people to come in, do your business, and get out and make room for somebody else, kind of like a restaurant runs. And another note that even though this was controversial because everybody thought, well, the roads are public, I pay for them on my taxes, I ought to be able to park where I want, when I want, went through all that business with some court cases, but the first parking ticket was issued also in Oklahoma City in 1937.
Then in Alabama beat Oklahoma, didn't they last night? I think they did. Yeah, just wanted to say that.
Yeah, we're not going to mention that. Also this week in 1967, the Ford Mustang, again, introduced in 1964 and a half, but by 1967, they sold 10 million cars. 10 million Mustangs, that fast. And it was just a big hit, started the whole pony car segment. This particular car we're showing here was number 1, the very first Mustang that rolled out. And they acquired it because when they found the owner, the 1 millionth Mustang that was made, they traded it to the guy for this car, and that's how this one ended up back in the museum. Then in 1969, one of the things that everybody remembers is the Plymouth Superbird. Now, this was a very highly modified, short-lived version of the Plymouth Roadrunner. A lot of graphics, a lot of had the Roadrunner horn, beep beep type thing, and it was designed to run in NASCAR. Now, the year before, the Daytona, the Dodge Charger Daytona, had run in 1969, very successful. They only had to produce 500 of the Daytonas because when it was so successful, NASCAR changed the rules. So they had to make more of them, one for every car dealership they had, which meant that the Daytona had to make over 1,000 cars just to be able to run. That's the reason they only did it for 1 year. And another interesting note, you'll notice that this car has a vinyl top. Except for the ones that were built for the race car teams, all of the Superbirds had vinyl tops. The Daytonas did not. What they found was, to get them all out in time, they quit finishing the top, where the top meets the body lines, the seams. It was easier to just cover them with vinyl than it was to smooth it out for paint. The cars came with either 426 Hemis or 440 cubic inch engines with a 4-barrel or a 6-barrel. And it's believed that there's about 1,000 of them left out on the road somewhere. 1970, the EPA sets first auto emission standards. Now, this is where the EPA came in, decided what the automakers had to do. Of course, that's what started the downturn as far as the horsepower goes into the muscle cars, killed all that stuff, and kind of brought in catalytic converters and all the wonderful things that we have now to help control our smog. December 2009, General Motors announced it would shut down SAAB. Now, SAAB was founded in 1937 in Sweden as an aircraft manufacturer. And it was after the war they got into building cars. And they, Chevrolet bought them and used them as far as some of their makes and models to bring into the country. This is the first SAAB 92 that was done in 1949 when they switched from airplanes over to cars.
I'm sorry. What an ugly car.
Yes, it is. And you'll notice that even the newer ones looked almost like this. They like that design for some reason.
SAAB.
2015, last one. 2015, Volkswagen reaches Dieselgate settlement. Now, this was really important because a lot of people went to jail. A lot of people paid a lot of money fines. One guy got arrested in a restroom at an airport in Florida trying to get out of the country before the FBI grabbed him, but they got him. And they offered to buy back 500,000 2.0 liter vehicles in the United States as part of the settlement for this. And it really changed the way they were monitoring how manufacturers did their emissions testing. And that's this week in automotive history.